Welcome back to The Relatable Black Girl, where I'm your host, Simone. And on this episode, I want to talk about dealing with loneliness. This is kind of going to be like a piggyback off of the last episode where I talked about singlehood, loneliness, and living alone. I want to talk about some of the ways that I felt alone in the past and how I dealt with it, whether it was like healthy or unhealthy, and what I just learned from the experience. I'm going to talk about different ways that I have felt alone, not to be confused with different types of loneliness. Because when it comes down to different types, you have situational, you have chronic. I'm just going to talk about some of the different ways that I felt alone, and they could fall under, different categories of loneliness. But one of the ways that I have felt loneliness is being single. I have felt loneliness as in like wanting a romantic partner. And then I've also feel like I felt loneliness while having a romantic partner, but they weren't feeling like my emotional needs. So I also felt still alone. I have felt alone in the sense of like, oh, I live alone. I only have one family member down here. I don't really know many people. Like, I really feel like I don't have anybody in my corner, like here present with me. Not like I have to call you, but actually here. And then I've also felt loneliness where I felt like I've had a lot of people around me. I've also was in a relationship at the time, but I felt like this isolation from the people around me, and I felt like this loneliness. So first, I want to talk about being lonely in the sense of like romantically, like wanting a relationship. I feel like that type of lonely, when you are like yearning for someone, intimacy and things like that. Y'all, I ended up in a relationship that I did not want to be in, okay? But it was because I had a breakup. I was so used to being in a relationship because I was like in a long-term relationship for like a nice amount of years. I was single for like 6 months, and then I got like right back into a relationship. So then I was like, I want to stay single for like a year. I want to give myself a break, some time. And that was like my goal. And then that 1 year turned into 2 years. And I was kind of like, wait, hold up. Like, why don't nobody want me? Like, why am I not meeting someone? Like, I'm used to having someone here to watch movies with or go on date nights with. Like, I'm really like used to that. I'm not even used to having to like go to the store by myself if I don't want to. Like, I would only go if I'm like need a break from my partner, or maybe I had an attitude. I don't know. And I'm like, let me just get away from this person for a little bit. And I think I kind of lowered my standards when I felt that type of loneliness. I lowered my standards a lot, and I ended up like dating somebody that I had like no interest in, but they liked me a lot. And I had people in my ear telling me like, oh, you need to date, you're so young, and da da da. And so I really lowered my standards to be with this person, and we just were not compatible. And we did end up getting into a relationship. You see how that can, like, that type of loneliness kind of turns into, I guess you could say, desperation. Because I wanted somebody there. So I just like, okay, you want to be with me, here you go. So I guess you can say that was like out of like desperation. Like, that type of loneliness for me turned into like desperation. And then once I got into the relationship, I had that romantic partner that I felt like I was missing, but then I felt so much loneliness because I felt like I wasn't really compatible with this person. And when I expressed my feelings to this person, I felt like they were being dismissed. So then that made me want to like meet someone else. So I'm with this person, but I'm also actively trying to meet somebody else. And when you're trying to sneak and do something behind someone's back, it's really hard. It limits your options because not everybody is going to willing to work with your crazy schedule because you're trying to do something sneaky in behind somebody's back. And you got to like call a friend and be like, oh, pretend like you want to go out with them to actually meet up with this person. And maybe you actually really do want to go out with them, but then you also want to see this person, or lie about where you're at, where you're going, how long you're going to be there. It's like just very, very complicated. And then again, it's like you're still acting out of desperation because you might actually like the person more than you like the person that you're with, but it's still just who you can get because of the situation. Like, because of, I need somebody that's going to be understanding that, hey, I'm really not available anytime you need me, which is still not an ideal situation. I feel like now I deal with singlehood so much better because I love myself a little more and differently than what I did before. I'm like way more passionate about myself and way more devoted to my own happiness because people are very selfish, you guys. People are so selfish and they always want to do whatever they feel like is best for them. And you know what? They're not wrong. And you also need to do what is best for you as well. And I got a lot of hobbies. I started reading a lot of books, listening to a lot of women's stories about finding love like later in life and still getting married and having kids. You know, sometimes you got to kiss a couple of frogs. But at the end of the day, they found the person that they felt like they were meant to be with. And that was because they left who they were not meant to be with. And I'm like, I don't want to be one of those people that stick around for 10 and 20 years. And then I finally walk away. And I could have been did that a long time ago, especially when kids get involved. I'm just like, I don't want that to be me. I want to leave situations that do not serve me. And like I said, like, I love myself differently. Like, I am genuinely so in love with who I am as a person. And it's because I worked really hard to be who I am. I did a lot of healing. I did a lot of forgiving, you know, and it has helped me so much with being single. And whenever I think that I miss an ex, I be like, what do you miss about him? Him going out every weekend? Him choosing to hang out with his friends over you? Like, what exactly do you miss? Like, so that's like just how I deal and cope with it. It's just like by reminding myself that I deserve so much better than what I was giving, and also that I shouldn't have to lower my standards to find someone. And then I want to go into talking about dealing with loneliness when you have people around you, and then also when you don't. When I first moved to Texas and it was just like me and my dog most of the time, oh my gosh, I would like cry my eyes out. I would cry my eyes out. I come from a really big family, so I'm used to having people around me all the time. If I want to run to the store, I could just like run to the store. Like, no problem. I got somebody to come with me. Like, now it's like, oh my God, I have to do everything alone, like by myself. And I think that there was a lot of anxiety for me around it. Like, I had a lot of anxiety about going out and feeling like, oh, like I'm by myself. Will people notice that I'm alone? Like, and I know it might sound silly, but I had a lot of anxiety about it. And the only way that I could overcome that anxiety was to start going out by myself alone. You know, it started off with, of course, I have to go grocery shopping. I have to eat, you know, I have to buy clothes, you know. At first, I would only go to like small stores or department stores before I got comfortable to go to like the mall by myself. I put in my headphones and like just listen to a podcast or maybe some music while I just go from like store to store. And then I got to a point where I was comfortable enough to like go to restaurants and go out to eat by myself, but I had to like work up to that point because, girl, the way I would go in a restaurant and set up my phone and watch a movie and eat a seafood boil, okay, it's ridiculous. Like, I will go out all the time by myself. I won't even think about it. I'll wake up and be like, I want breakfast, and I want it to be takeout, and I might as well just go sit down and eat. Like, and I don't, it's not even like a second thought about it. And it took me a while to get more confident and comfortable. But I think the only way that you will be comfortable with doing things alone and by yourself is by just pushing yourself and taking baby steps. Like, maybe you're not ready to go sit at that breakfast restaurant by yourself, but maybe you might feel comfortable to go into Chipotle, a place like Chipotle, and sit and eat, whether it's in the inside or the outside, wherever you feel comfortable at. But I definitely had to work my way up to like doing things. My dog is company to me. That's just how I feel. She's company to me. When she's at the groomers and I come home and she's not here, I'm like, damn, like this place is empty. So I do have my dog, and I do consider her as company. I've had my dog for 7 years now. That's my baby. Another way that I felt loneliness is being around people but feeling like misunderstood, not feeling heard, feeling like people are nitpicking with me, feeling like I'm a burden. And I feel like that type of loneliness can get very dark and like very scary, because you really start to like shrink yourself and you start talking less. It's like you isolate yourself even more than what you feel like people are making you. And I feel like the best thing to do in those situations is, well, first of all, I want to say have self awareness. Like, you might be saying or doing things that are inappropriate or that are getting under people's skin, or maybe you just don't have that type of relationship with that person to bring up topics that you're bringing up. I want to say that first, like, have self-awareness, understand the type of relationship that you have with people, understand that there's different dynamics in relationships, and understand that sometimes if someone has known someone longer or they just have a different type of bond with that person, everybody relationships look different. The relationship I have with one sister is different from the relationship I have with another sister, and I think that you should keep that in mind. But I also would say confront people, not in aggressive way, not to be argumentative, just express how you feel and also hear them out too as well. And I know sometimes it's hard to confront people if you feel like nervous about their reaction, because sometimes you can tell people like, hey, you make me feel this way, and it's like they'll be like, no, I didn't. And it's like, hey, you might have not meant to make me feel this way, but I still feel this way. And I think it's also important to know when to walk away from situations as well, because sometimes that might just not be the space that you're meant to be in. Those might not be your people. Those are just not your people. And you never want to get in a situation where you feel like you have to shrink yourself and make yourself smaller to be around people, because that's going to make you feel even more isolated. You want to be around people that you feel like accept you for who you are. And the last thing that I want to say is that don't be afraid to put yourself out there in new situations that you might not be used to. Just be positive, be understanding, be kind, and really put yourself out there. Because I know sometimes if you felt rejection in the past, it makes it hard for you to want to put yourself out there. Or sometimes you feel like, oh, I've been here before, and you just automatically jump to conclusions in your mind, and it can make you isolate yourself from people. And I would say just try to be open-minded when you're coming into new situations. Don't automatically think that you know a person just because you feel like they have similarities to someone that you knew in the past. Like, give everybody their own opportunity. I'm Simone, and this is the Relatable Black Girl. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and talk to you later. Bye.